Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing with you some simple homeschool life library hacks. So if you're excited to hear more about that, then hit that thumbs up button and stay tuned. So this is the third video in a series of simple homeschool life hacks that I am doing for you. I will link the first two in the description box below. And today I'm going to be talking about library hacks, just simple homeschool life library hacks, because chances are if you're a homeschooler, you visit the library often, and chances are you pay fines and lose books often. So I'm here to help you put some simple hacks together that will prevent you from losing books, help you save money on fines, and really just help you with your experience at the library. We're going to be talking about all of the things that the library has to offer. So I've got my little notebook of things here, and we'll just get right into it. Now, I'll preface this by saying that some libraries don't offer the same resources and amenities and things that other libraries do. So I would encourage you to just go to your library, your local library, or if you have multiple libraries that you could possibly get a library card from, go and check out and see what they have to offer. Ask your librarians. The librarians are a wealth of information. I mean, our librarian is awesome. Just last week, I was there and I was looking for this book. I knew it was a Newbery Medal book, but I couldn't remember the name of it, and I was trying to help my son find this book. And so this is all I told my librarian. I went up to her and I said, okay, there's a book that I'm looking for. It's a Newbery Medal. It's got a boy on the cover, because I could remember the front cover of this book. It's got a boy on the front, and it's about wartime or something about him being in the war, or war was happening around him. And so then the library goes, Johnny Tremaine? And I said, yes, that's it. And with just that vague, help me find this book, she was able to pinpoint it. So, I mean, that's impressive. I give my librarians kudos because they know their stuff. So go to your librarian, go to your library and ask them what kind of things that they offer in your library, and take advantage of all the stuff. I'm going to be listing a few of the things that they offer just at my local library, and yours might have it as well, so be sure and check that out. So the librarian is, a number one tip for, resource. You can use your librarian as a resource to find books on various subjects or figure out what your library has to offer. So the first tip or hack that I have for you is to take weekly trips to the library. Pick a day during the week, the one day that you will go every single week to the library. So for us, that is Wednesdays. Every Wednesday we go to the library, and it's just a part of our schedule. My kids know to expect it, and that's the day that we go. And we either spend, maybe just 30 minutes there, or we spend half of the day there. We really just love the library, and oftentimes we spend most of the day at the library because there is so much that the library has to offer, especially for homeschool kids. And when school starts, no one else is there. It's wonderful. The kids get the library pretty much all to themselves, and they love that. So Wednesdays are the days that we go. So pick a day that you will go every single week to the library. This will prevent you from forgetting to return books and all of that. So every week, get to the library. My second hack for you is to designate an area for library books. So my kids know that they are only allowed to keep their library books downstairs. The upstairs is entirely their domain. That's where all of their books are, all of their toys, their bedroom, everything. It's upstairs. And downstairs is, the parents' domain. And so to prevent confusing their books with the library books, we have one spot downstairs where we keep all of the books. Generally, the principle or the idea is the same. There's one spot in your house for books. That can be on a separate bookshelf, that can be in a crate or a basket somewhere where you will easily find them, and the kids know where to get them if they want to read their books. And then limit the space where they can take those books. So, like I said, for us, it's only downstairs. They can't take them upstairs at all. And in the car, if we want to go somewhere and they want to take a library book with them, they're only allowed to bring one book. So have specific rules in place for those library books so that you know and the kids know these are the only places that we have the books, and that helps not to lose books or to find them quickly if they do get lost. Another tip I have for you is electronics. So we don't usually go to the library and just play on the computers. Since my kids are so little, as they get older, then I will allow them more time on the computer, and I'm going to use the computers that they have at the library for computer class, because the library computers have those games that teach you how to type, and even educational learning games like how to read or practice your math, or just simple things like figuring out how to maneuver a mouse and click. And all of that is very important for this day and age especially, but we don't have a specialized computer at home that is, mouse driven and touch screen in case your children can't figure out one or the other, And so I plan in the future to make computer education part of our library visit. And so we'll take probably just 10 to 15 minutes to sit down and learn about the computer and how it works, and then do a little bit of practice typing and all of that stuff, and then let them play some educational games out of it. I will say, to start when they're super young, tell them that the library is not for technology. I specifically tell my children that the library is for books and for reading, and that's what we are here for. And I want to set that foundation and that expectation starting out, so that every time they come to the library, they're not drawn straight to the computers or whatever they have there to offer, but to the books. And so once I've set that foundation, then I will let them, slowly get to computer time and practice and stuff like that. So it's developmentally, age appropriate time. So for my oldest son, he's 5 now, going on 6, and I'm allowing him now practice at the computer. We're gonna start that I'm slowly introducing that to him, but I do remind him that the library is for books only, and this computer time is for learning about the computer, so it's an educational experience. But my younger daughters, when we all go together as a family, obviously, they don't get computer time. It's a disappointment at first, but they get used to it, and then they, learn that they can't use the computer, and then that's it. So, electronics. They also have, some libraries have little tablet type electronic technology things that you can take home, you can rent out and take home. And they also have educational games and things where you can maybe learn how to use games on a tablet or how a tablet functions. They have little games on there and stuff like that. So I know that our local library does not have that thing that you can check out a tablet, but another library in the next city over to us does have that. God bless you. So there are libraries offer different things. So just be sure and check out and see if they have some sort of tablet that you can check out and take home. Now that would be very important to make sure it has a designated place so that you don't lose it. Okay, another little tip for you is that you can try out curriculum at the library before you purchase it. Now, they don't have, all sorts of, all of the curriculum out there. I mean, of course, there's like The Good and the Beautiful or something. They're not going to have curriculum like that. I don't even think they have the master books math curriculum and stuff. But they do have reading, like I think there's How to Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons or something. They have that book. Some libraries do. You'll have to check and see what yours has to offer. But make sure and check your library first for any curriculum that you're looking for that you will maybe want to test out and try, because the library might have it. I did discover that my library has Story of the World. They have all of the books there for me to read and rent out. Of course, I already, own them, so I didn't need to borrow them. But for somebody who doesn't have it and maybe wants to try out Story of the World to see if it's a history curriculum that they would be interested in, then check your library, because they just might have it. And you can also make suggestions to the librarians and say, hey, I want to see about, I just got distracted. There's a squirrel up there in the tree. Anyways, Squirrel. The librarians, you can suggest books and they just might get them for you. They're very helpful and they want to be able to offer the things that you need. So if there's a book at the library that the library doesn't have, ask your librarian to get it and they just might. So curriculum, that also goes for resource material and stuff, like a field guide of some sort. And the field guides, the good ones, are generally pretty expensive. So you can check and see if your library has it, and then you can flip through it, maybe, bring it home and see if it's something that you'd be willing to carry around if you're on a nature walk or something like that. And if it would be something that would be of value to you, and then you'll know before you buy it that you would really want it. I also mentioned the same kind of tip in my last video, homeschool organization hacks. So using your library to try it out first and see how your kids like these books are helpful for that. So that was another tip from my last hack video. Also, the library puts on used book sales, or they usually have just a bookshelf out always that has books for purchase. And these are like cheap books. So I would just generally keep an eye on that. There might be some little gold nuggets in there of books that you're probably maybe looking for, and it might be beneficial to you to purchase from them. Plus it helps your local library. Another little hack is look and see if your library offers activities. Many libraries do. They have regular weekly activities for toddlers, they have like a weekly story time. They even have a homeschool meetup group. So look into that and see if there's any homeschool meetups that meet at the library. There is all sorts of activities and things that they put on for you. So go and look up and see if they have any activities that could be worth your while. So another thing is audiobooks and movies. So I don't have a CD player, so I usually get my audiobooks on like Audible or something like that. But libraries usually have e-readers or an online app or something like that that allow you access to audiobooks. So my particular library uses Cloud Library. It's an app on my phone. I just sign up with my library card and select my local library, and I can browse their library catalog and they'll pull up audio versions as well. And so then I can just download it into the app on my phone, and we listen to it oftentimes in the car. We'll listen to audiobooks through my phone from the library. And so they also have, the CD version of audiobooks. So if you want to listen to a CD version in your car, you can do that. Or if you have a CD player at home, you can listen to. Audiobooks are really fun, and we go through so many books that way by listening to audiobooks. And then of course, movies. All of this is making noise, okay? She's playing with her toys and it's making a lot of noise, so sorry about that. Okay, the next tip I have for you, the next little library hack is, the library is a good place to go and do school and just change up your everyday time. So if you're feeling in a homeschool rut or something, or the day just isn't going very well, your kids are in bad moods, and it just hasn't been a good homeschool day, maybe pack everything up and go to the library and spend the rest of the day at the library. It's just a change of scenery, and they're surrounded by books, and I don't know about you, but I just enjoy sitting in the library. It feels like that's a place where you should be studying or learning. And so that environment could help turn a bad day around. And they also, some libraries have study rooms that you can rent out for free, and it's just a little small space. It usually has a table and like a whiteboard, and you can sit in there with your kids and have a quiet space to do your homeschool lessons, and then send them out to go play in the children's section or go look at books or something like that. So the library is just a great place to go and change the scenery. And so be sure and see if you have any study rooms available to you. So when you go to the library, when you have your kids go to the library, have everyone carry their own book bag. For little ones, it can be a backpack. For older ones, it could be just, you know, your typical library bag. Have them carry their own bag, preferably for the little ones, like I said, a backpack. That way it's easy for them. And have them carry their own books. And then set a limit to the amount of books they can borrow. My kids get really excited about the library. They love going and they love picking out books. And so they start just throwing everything in my bag. And so what helped combat this is giving them their own backpack. It can only fit so much, and when it starts to get heavy, they're like, okay, I'm not gonna carry this many books. I'm gonna have to wheedle some down. That way you don't become the bad guy and be like, okay, we're not getting that, we're not getting that, we're not getting that. Or we'll come back for this next time. You're not the bad guy. Only what they can fit in their backpack is what they can take home. And typically it's best to keep it to a certain minimum number, and that's up to you to decide, maybe 10 books or 15 or whatever. And along those lines, another tip for you is encourage your children, or make it a requirement, that they get a certain book from each genre. That way it helps them to widen their tastes in book selections. And you require them to get a book from, you know, get them a nonfiction book, a fiction book, a how-to book, a history book. Set the genres and then show them where they are, and that they have to get at least one from each of those. And then they can get however many from any other genre that they want, as long as it, you know, is within the limit. Then they will look at those books. It'll be in their bag. And even if they don't, you know, you get home and they don't look at it, if you have, this is another tip, if you have a set time in the day where it's time to look at library books, like maybe an afternoon quiet time where they can take their backpacks, they can go sit down in a space, in a comfy chair, on their bed or wherever, where it's designated that they can look at their books, then they'll, by hopefully boredom, if not by, you know, choice, they will look at those books, and then it will help them expand their interests and tastes in types of genres. So a couple of tips and hacks all bunched into one there, but I think that that's everything. Oh, okay, the last thing, and this is kind of a big one, and you would think it's kind of obvious maybe, or maybe not. So I'm just gonna remind you, if you don't already know, to teach your children how to find library books from the computer, and then how the indexing system works. I think it's called the Dewey Decimal System. I believe that's right. It's a good knowledge to have, and I know it. I know how to find books and how the system works. I just don't remember the name of it. I think it's Dewey Decimal. Correct me if I'm wrong, but teach your kids that system and how to find books. I have my two older boys. They're my husband's children. They're my children, but for those of you who need that specificity there, my two older boys, they go to public school, and they're in 5th and 6th grade. And they don't know how to find library books. No librarian has taught them how to do that. And that is something that I was taught when I was in elementary school. I remember it specifically because it was exciting to be like, oh, I can find a book now. But they don't teach that, or at least they don't teach it to my sons in their public school that they're going to. So this past summer, I had to teach them how to do that. And I was totally fine with that, obviously. But it's just a reminder that maybe we know how to find books all the time and we go and find them, or we just ask the librarian and we don't even think about finding it on our own. But it is a skill that we need to have, especially if we want to go to the library and instill a love for a library in our children, is to be able to find their own books. So definitely remember to teach your kids how to find books at the library. And you can start that young just by saying, okay, the library is organized into sections or spaces. There's the children's area where you'll find all the children's books. Then over here is where all of the adult books are. And then you obviously keep it pertaining to the children first, and then be like, okay, in the children's section, they have books that teach you something, and then they have books that tell you a story. And so then just general broad terms helps them understand that, okay, the library is organized and there's a place for everything. And so if they know generally what kind of book they're looking for, then they'll be able to find it. And then of course, as they get older, you can teach them about the labeling and the, Dewey Decimal System, if that's what it's called, and how to search specifically for books, especially whenever they're looking for them from the computer. The children's section at the library has gotten really good over the years. They're not so rigorous about being quiet anymore. When I was a kid, we had to be very quiet even in the kids section, and the kids section did not have any kind of, like play things. But the libraries that I have, at least in my local area, they have a huge children's section typically, and they offer, like puzzles and little games and things like that. So take advantage of that. What I do is I let the littles go and play in the kids section, and then I help my older with finding the books that he needs. And so then I help him find his books. And I think one thing I did forget to mention was, yes, take advantage of checking out books online for your own personal or even for your homeschool. They do the pulling of the books for you, and sometimes if maybe on a specific day you don't have time to go into the library, you have some other errands to run on the day that you designate to go. But if you check out your books online, the librarians can put it on the hold shelf for you, and then you can just run in real quick, check out the books that you put on hold, and then run out and then go on with your day. And then you can just do the outside, drop box if you need to drop off books that day. So that's a good help. But also what I found is I never get to pick out books for myself at the library because I'm always helping my children. And so I will go and search online and pick out any books that I might be interested in looking at, and then or reading. And then on that day that we go to the library, I know I have my books on the hold shelf, and when we go to check out all of my kids' books, I can quickly grab the books that I was interested, that I put on hold, and then check them out as well. That way you get in your reading too, because I know oftentimes we forget to read on our own, probably because we didn't have time to check out books in the first place because we were helping our kids. But I think it's important for us to exemplify and demonstrate our love of reading to our children, to encourage them and, stir within them a desire and a love for reading and books as well. So that's my last little tip for you. I hope that this video helped you. If it did, be sure and hit that subscribe button and turn on the little bell icon so that you'll be notified of my latest videos. I am doing a series of these hack videos, a simple homeschool life hack series. So be sure and keep an eye on that. I'm trying to post them every other week because I have so much I want to share with y'all. It's awesome. So every other week I'm gonna do these hacks, and then in between I'm doing, other advice, tips and tricks and things like that. So thank you so much for following along, and I will see you in the next video.